Hi, this is Guy. I'm the Vecino's Coffee Guy. My name is Guy, and this is Vecino's Coffee Guy. Vecinos means neighbor in Spanish. So I like to have my neighbors in for coffee, and I do. And so I like the name Vecino's Coffee. That's how I got the name. And today I have my travel case. And if you see this, this is because I live in Port Charlotte, Florida. Now, the nearest cheap airport to me is 15 minutes away. It's in Charlotte County. It's in Punta Gorda, if you're Spanish. I guess you say Punta. And so I like to travel with Punta Gorda because I usually fly to the Midwest, either to Indianapolis or to Illinois, Peoria. And as I travel, I am a tightwad, so I do not like to pay for carry-on. And you have to pay for luggage that you carry on the plane. I think it's $15 or $20, $30 round trip, 15 each way, 40, I can't remember. But they give you a woman a purse, so they got to give a man a computer case. This is my computer case. So when I travel, you know, it's challenging because I have to pack my underwear, my socks, my pants, and a shirt or two in this. Now, what's really important to me is coffee. I can't go very many places where there's a good coffee that I'm really satisfied with. And part of the reason is when you go to a shop, you ask them, well, when was this coffee roasted? Well, our roaster doesn't put the date on it. So it could be 6 months old and they think it's fresh. And if you go to a major brand that has a mermaid on the label, we won't say the name, we'll call it mermaid coffee, they have a 1-year expiration date after roaster. Well, the Specialty Coffee Association declares that bogus. And so I call it bogus because I taste it and it's not fresh. So you got to have fresh roasted coffee, fresh ground coffee, and fresh brewed coffee. And you have to start with good coffee to begin with because there's different grades of coffee. And there's different regions that have different taste in coffee. So, you know, I have several regions that I really like, and so I'm roasting my own coffee. I have 2 roasters, and I'm a coffee roaster, so I like a certain region of the world. I like more acidic coffee, and I like natural coffee. So I'm a coffee snob. So I travel, and it's important to me. My priorities are coffee. You know, give me clean underwear, yes, but give me good coffee. You hear what I'm saying today? That's how much I'm into coffee. So when I am limited to a man purse or a computer bag, if you're polite, and this looks, you know, it's a canvas, you know, kind of rugged looking thing. It looks kind of manly, I guess, so I'm happy with a man purse. And I am now challenged, how am I going to take coffee and brew coffee? Because I want room for my underwear, pants, and shirt. How am I going to do that with this little bag? Well, I found this. This is a hand grinder. And I have traveled places and actually purchased one of those $10 blade grinders. But I hate blade grinders because it spins and it doesn't grind the coffee evenly. I find that the bottom is powder and the top is coarse. And so it's not even. So you want a burr grinder, and you know, I just don't want to travel. I can't carry a burr grinder, except I found a hand burr grinder I can take. And so what happens is the handle comes off. I stick it in the bag. The top comes off. Okay, and I'm going to show you with this, with the top off. It's a new grinder, so it's a little bit stiff. And it's full of beans. And so now I'm going to I'm going to zero out my scale. I can't take a scale with me. So what am I going to do? I'm going to measure out my beans and weigh out my beans. and that is 39 grams of coffee. So usually I will do 35 grams to make myself a 16-ounce cup of coffee, and that's my coffee for the day, a 16-ounce. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the beans out of this until I get to my 34 grams. That's good. And I'm going to put my 34 grams into my grinder. And so now, because I don't have a scale, I'm going to say that that's almost full. It's just like 4 grams of coffee less than full. And then I'm going to put my top on it. And then I'm going to get my handle out and put it on. And I'm going to grind it. Okay, I'm going to come back when this is ground, okay? Okay, it is now fully ground, so I can separate this, and I can show you that there's coffee in there. It's a little bit coarse, but I can now take the coffee that's ground, and it's even, and I can adjust the grind by making it, I think I'm going to make it a little bit finer for next time, by turning this adjustment screw in the bottom clockwise. So I have, this is full, almost full, gives me 35 grams. So, how am I going to brew this coffee? Oh, I'm glad you asked. I'm going to pull this out because this gives me the opportunity, some people call it a sock. It is a filter of sorts. Shows that you can use it as a pour over or you can let it steep. And both methods will give you a decent cup of coffee. And it's a good travel filter. And if you have a source if you stay in a motel, sometimes they give you those little packets, pillow packs of coffee, which I don't like. But if they have a brewer, I got a method to get my water hot. There we go. And so you just need a way to heat water now. So usually wherever you go, wherever you're staying, you can usually find somebody that's got a pot and a stove. Or you are in a hotel and there's a brewery and you can use it to heat the water. And if they have a filter and you want to use that coffee maker, it's okay. I find automatic coffee makers don't give me the temperature I want. If I boil water in a pan and I let it come to a boil and I take it off and let it sit for a minute, then it's going to be between the 195 and 205. Now this is a little thing that goes on top of a cup, and I'm going to use a almost like a paper cup, and let me grab that. And this is like a to-go cup. This is, I believe, a 16-ounce to-go cup. And I'm going to put this on top of the cup, like this. And I'm going to take water, and I'm going to heat my water to the correct temperature. Now, I'm cheating because I'm home, but I'm going to use my grinder and my sock or my filter for this. Now that's really full. This is really probably better for an 8 to 12 ounce cup than a 16, because now I don't have a lot of room for this to swell. But I'm going to go get my water now and take off my travel case. Okay, now I'm going to bloom the coffee. I'm going to wet the grounds. And I'm going to let them swell. Watch it swell. This is fresh roasted coffee, so it's going to be swelling to overflowing, it looks like. This was just roasted today, so usually it's too fresh to really drink. Well, as you can see, that coffee is too fresh, so we're going to do it again. It was roasted this morning. Its bloom exploded rather than bloomed because it hasn't degassed. And so we're going to do that over with some coffee that has degassed. But it was a good experience to show you what too fresh of coffee is. And it doesn't even taste good, but it's a good demonstration for you to see. Let's try the degassed coffee and see what that does. Run over isn't a problem with this because it goes right back into the cup. You don't want to push it further than you have to, but it's a good design. This Primula sock cup, single cup, travel brewer. So what we're doing now is the contact time with the coffee can be adjusted by taking this out because it's like a tea bag now. The height of the water is up to the sock, and it's an immersion brewer. This is a pour over. If I hold it like this and pour over. So if you're grinding it coarse and you're pouring over and your contact time with your water is not long enough, you can sit it down and immersion brew. And I have too much water for that now, it's full. You can use it like a tea bag, and if you want to use it as a pour over, grind it a little bit finer, and you want it to be in that 3.5 minute, 4 minute range. And if you don't get it, you can immersion brew it until that 3.5 minutes. Now, if it's coarser, it's going to take longer to extract a coarser coffee. If it's finer, you can use it as a pour over and get the 4 minutes or 3.5 minutes. So you can adjust your grind as I have on this. And now I have, when I ordered this grinder, it is a this. I was ordering the grinder, but they sent with me a Vanoli filter, which is a stainless steel. It has holes on one side and a screen on the other. And I could do this as a cup brewer, as a pour over, or I could do it in a decanter of some type and as a pour over. I find that this screen is finer than the Able filter that we're going to do a video on as well. I found out by straining the coffee, because of the fines in it, there's more fines in a French press. And if I'm taking it to a Bible study or a church service, then a lot of people don't like the fines. I don't mind the fines. It's sweet. The longer it sits, the sweeter it is. It's like cupping. If you let it sit as it cools down, you're going to taste more as it sits. And you can let it sit for 15, 20 minutes. And it gets sweeter. So some people don't like fines, and so I would pour the French press through this, and then I would discover that it would get clogged with the fines. And so I got a coarser filter, which is my Able filter, and I poured the water through it, and it goes through much faster, and it gets out the big grinds, but not the real tiny grinds. So I've been experimenting with different degree of filtration that each metal mesh filter is, and discovering that there are different grades that you would do finer or coarser coffees in. So this is a net filter, and it's a mesh filter. It's reusable. Why do I like the mesh reusable filters? Well, I like them because it lets the oils through, and it lets some of the fines through. Now, I like a fuller bodied coffee, and so a mesh is going to give me a fuller body. It's going to let the oils through and a little bit of fines in the bottom of the cup. I prefer that. I also prefer a natural coffee. A natural coffee is one that the cherries are picked with the fruit, it's dried, and then it's milled off the seed, which is your coffee bean. I like it because it's a sweeter and more fruity note to the coffee, because the fruits, sugars are dissolved into the bean. So I prefer a mesh filter because I like a fuller body, and I like a natural because I like the fruity notes of the coffee. Some people like a cleaner cup, and a paper filter works better for them. It filters out the grinds, but it doesn't let the oils through as much as this does. There's dissolvable particles of coffee in this cup, and I like the taste of that. So the finer the filter, the less you're going to taste that. And it's called a clean cup or a full-bodied cup. So I prefer a full-bodied cup, something that lets the oils through and a little bit of fines through. And this is good for traveling because I can stick it into my bag. I can stick this into my bag, and I'm happy if I have a pan of water to heat and I can find a way to pour that pan. If I can find any kind of thing with a spout to pour, I'm happy with this system as I travel. It isn't home, and it isn't what I'm used to, but I do like it. So I think it produces a nice cup of coffee. Yes, it does. So the bloom is important. The fresher the coffee, the bigger the bloom. Fresh roasted, fresh ground, fresh brewed, particle size adjusted to the extraction time, to get the goodness out of the coffee, to extract the goodness out. It's all comes into the chemistry of brewing a cup of coffee. So until we come back, this is my travel. And if you want this is a Primula, and they're inexpensive. It's reusable, rinse it out. This is easily taken on the road in a case, and it's quite satisfactory for the grind. It has an adjustment so you get a more even grind than a blade grinder. So this is my method when I travel. Happy travels to you. Now if you like this video, do the thumbs up and subscribe, and then hit the bell, and every time we come out with a new video you can watch, because we're going to be doing different things, and something is going to hit you good, and some things are really going to be something you want, maybe others not, but you can skip over those. So welcome to the Vecino's Coffee Guy, and we're glad you could join us, and we hope you can come back and join us sometime in person for a coffee club. We do a coffee club we're starting, and we're going to taste different kinds of coffees with different brew methods and different blends, and we're going to cup coffee and taste coffee, and we're going to show you how to brew the coffee so that you can get the most out of your coffee. So stay tuned as we develop this coffee club, and it's going to be a video to show you how, if you're at a distance, or you can come here and be a part of the videotaping of our coffee club. Until then, we'll see you next week.